Have you been trying unsuccessfully for a while now to eat and like beans? By now, you've tasted a few different kinds of beans, but still haven't found one that you liked. It's all rather frustrating and disappointing. You're about ready to give up on them altogether and move on to other plant-based foods. But beans are supposed to be good for you, right? So can anything be done to make beans less gag-worthy? Yes, there is, and I want to tell you about it. In this episode, let me give you 3 simple strategies you can try if you want to include more beans in your plant-based meals but don't know how to make them more palatable and tasty. So if you're ready to up legumes in your meals, pop me in your earbuds and listen in. Welcome to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Anna Zinn, plant-based registered dietitian and transition coach. Hi friend, do you want to regain your health with plant-based eating but feel overwhelmed and lost about how to do it? Do you feel it'll be hard to change your meat-heavy diet and impossible with working, running the home, or chasing after the grandkids? If so, you're in the right place. Here you'll find simple strategies, clear nutrition guidance, and practical tips to help you thrive plant-powered with more energy. So if you're ready to ditch the guesswork and transform your health the stress-free way, cozy up now with a hot cup of tea or listen while you walk, and let me show you how doable plant-based eating can be. Let's do this. Hi friend, I've got something exciting to announce. Starting this episode, I'm launching a fun summer series on this podcast. I've received many great questions from my community so far, so I've decided to spotlight some of these community questions on this show. This way, as I address these questions, more people can benefit from them. These questions come from podcast listeners, my email community, and those in my free Beginners for Plant-Based Diet Success Facebook community, now over 26K strong. So after listening to today's episode, stay tuned so you'll be able to catch all the episodes in this summer series and benefit from it. Now let's dive into today's topic. In my community, many of whom are just beginning their plant-based diet journeys, I see many struggling in the bean department because they are not in love with them. In some cases, it has become so much of a challenge that they want to give up on beans altogether. That's why in this episode, I'm excited to spotlight and answer a question I received from a listener on the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. Her name is Deanna, and she wanted to know this. How can I make beans taste better if I don't like them? My biggest issue is beans. I just don't like them. It seems they're unavoidable when eating this way. Well, Deanna is not the only one facing this challenge. There are others struggling with this, like this member of my free Beginners for Plant-Based Diet Success community. She wrote that her biggest challenge was this: planning for protein when I very strongly dislike most beans and legumes. Another member commented to say, I'm allergic to peanuts and pine nuts. Beans make me gag. It's a texture thing, and I don't like kale. Well, that's why I'm choosing this listener question to answer, because I know many others in my community can benefit. The first suggestion I would like to make is this: try beans in a different way. Let me explain what I mean. If your problem with beans is its texture, meaning that eating them makes you feel like gagging, then one way to help make them more enjoyable is to simply try eating beans prepared or cooked a different way, instead of just as the whole beans themselves. Know that beans come in all shapes and sizes. Some, like fava beans or broad beans, are much bigger, while others are tiny, like mung beans. Different bean varieties can also differ in texture, depending on how they are prepared, and some can really taste quite different. Beans can also be prepared in a variety of ways, such as pureed into refried beans or made into hummus or bean burgers. In the case of my listener Deanna, she had told me that so far in her diet transition, she has only had mostly black beans and hadn't tried lentils yet. But She did say she enjoyed hummus and falafels. To me, that's a great start. I'm glad to see that she has already ventured out to try a few bean-based items like hummus and falafels and has enjoyed them so far. A second strategy you can use to make beans taste better is this: up-level the cooking water. Usually, when we cook up dried beans, we tend to just cook the pre-soaked dried beans in water. Well, if you would like your cooked beans to be tastier and more flavorful, you can add into the cooking water a few simple aromatics. Some examples are half an onion, some fresh garlic, and even vegetables like carrots and celery. Adding in some fresh or dried herbs can also make a difference, such as a bay leaf, rosemary, sage, or thyme. There are two key benefits to doing this. The first is that as the beans are cooking to tenderness, they will be absorbing the flavors from the cooking liquid, and so will turn out more flavorful in the end when cooked. The second key benefit is an added perk. At the end of the bean cooking period, the cooking water itself turns into a fragrant broth that can be used later as soup stock or vegetable broth for other dishes. Remember, if you want to keep your cooked beans salt-free, don't add in any salt to the cooking water. Now here's a third strategy you can try to make beans taste better. Season after cooking. Even if you choose to just cook your beans in plain unsalted cooking water, which is what I often do, know that there are ways to season the beans on the other end. One way would be to add fresh or dried herbs and seasonings like ground cumin, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, or even curry powder or Cajun. Another way to season the cooked or canned beans would be to add a sauce or dressing on top. Now the best dressings would be those that are both oil-free and refined sugar-free. These are not hard to make though, and would be much healthier than many store-bought dressings. For example, you can make a simple creamy nut or seed dressing, a lemon tahini sauce, or a berry-based oil-free vinaigrette dressing. I encourage you to try a few different dressings to find at least 2 to 3 that you can rotate and use on beans to enjoy. So today we talked about 3 simple strategies you can use to make beans more enjoyable, especially if you are moving into a whole food plant-based diet lifestyle. These are to 1. Try beans in a different way, 2. Up-level the cooking water, and 3. Season after cooking. Now here is an action step you can take. This coming week, pick one of these strategies and give it a try. If you started this episode feeling discouraged because you're not a bean fan and didn't think you will ever be, I hope you are leaving now feeling much more encouraged and excited to try some of these ideas shared. Now, I've only briefly touched on 3 strategies in today's episode to overcome the bean challenge. Know that there are actually many more smart ways you can add legumes into meals and prepare and season them to be tasty and flavorful. If you want to learn more smart strategies, flavoring hacks, and gain meal ideas and easy-to-make plant-based recipes, come and check out the online Plant Power Life Transformation course. This course will give you more tips and tricks for creating delicious plant-based meals, as well as meal ideas, inspiration, and ways to use not only beans and other legumes, but also other key plant-based ingredients like whole grains and vegetables. Get more details about this course at plantnourish.com/PPLT course or see the link in the show notes. Thank you for listening to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. If this podcast has helped you, please take a moment to rate and leave a written review on the Apple Podcast app or on iTunes. Knowing how this podcast has made a difference in your life never fails to light me up. I may also select your review to be read on the show. Remember that moving to plant-based eating can be simple and doable, even with your existing health challenges and busy lifestyle. If you have a plant-based diet question you'd like me to answer on this show, share that question with me using the contact options in the show notes. Thanks for joining me today, and I can't wait to connect with you again in the next episode. Until next time, keep plant-focused and thriving, my friend.